So I'll go first and then I'll pass over to you, Dora. Evolve here, pronouns they or king. And one win for me is I actually am working with the Speakers Bureau, which is something I've never done before. So a colleague of mine, his name is Mills, he had a speaking engagement. Well, he actually has a speaking engagement in June with this company to speak for Juneteenth. And they were looking for a Pride speaker. So he thought of me. And Joe, which is the person over the Speakers Bureau, reached out and said, hey, we have this company. And I got on this call and the company's there and Joe's there. And I was like, I gotta see where a Speakers Bureau comes in because Joe is doing all the hard work and all the pitching and I could just sit there and be the cute talent. So that's a win for me because it's a speaking engagement that I actually acquired through without having to do my own pitching, which to me is great because it just shows the power of relationships. But I'm also learning what it's like to work with the Bureau, even though I'm not formally signed with them. And I don't think I will. I don't really need that, but it's just an interesting strategy. So that's the win I'll share with y'all this week. And then I'll pass it over to you, Dora.
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm Dora Mendez. I'm the founder and CEO of Coach Dora LLC. I want to thank Evolve. I did the whole Kajabi challenge and my win is I'm going to launch. And the reason why I'm here is just to get some feedback. The reason why I'm here is a big win. I'm going to be doing a beta test LinkedIn Live launch of my first digital course.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's so that's why I'm here, because I keep winning with Evolve. And I just hope to get some great feedback. My pronouns are she, her, ella.
Alisa, go for it.
Alisa from Washington, Bainbridge Island area. And pronouns are she, her. Wins for the week. Moving forward on finishing up the script for my signature talk and getting going on getting my website launched, because I just feel, even though I know I can launch without the website, I feel like there's a place that somebody needs to land and see a speaker's reel. So I'm working on getting, even just recording myself in the room, pretending I'm talking to a whole room of people. I'll do that for a speaker reel, but have on a Facebook group looking, there's a people that are looking, that are other speakers that are getting together to record speaker reels essentially for each other and be each other's audience. So looks like that may happen in July. So so moving forward.
Congrats on that. Yeah, speakers reels are, it's such a great thing. I was talking to a client yesterday and I was telling them before I had a reel, what I would do is I created like a Spotify playlist because I was on so many podcasts at that time. I was doing a lot of podcast guesting. And I sent that like, hey, if you want to get a sense of my voice, here is, a list of podcasts that I've been on. So there's so much that we can use. It doesn't have to always be us on stage. And I find that sometimes websites and reels stop people from getting started in pitching, and you could still pitch with that. So if you have a podcast that you've been on, a YouTube live you've done, any of those type of things, you can also use that as a pitching mechanism as well.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm excited for you. That's really cool.
So my name is Rotimi. My pronouns are he, him. A win is I secured my highest paid speaking contract very recently. And it was a blend of both speaking and coaching services delivered at a 2-day conference. And so I'm looking forward to the final elements of that, which is a panel that I'm going to be moderating coming up next week, and some IP licensing. That's my huge thing right now, IP licensing. So I'm excited to be here, good to see everyone, and I'm excited to learn with the group.
All right, that's good. Biggest bag. So how much did they pay you, if you don't mind me asking?
The contract was $4,300. It was $2,000 for a half-hour keynote, $1,800 for coaching, and then $700 for the panel that's coming up.
That's great. Good job. Good job. I know when we talked a few months ago, it was about you going up in your price. So it rings, right? That you are are receiving that, y'all, because you're an amazing speaker, but I also think it builds your confidence in that negotiation room to know the value that you can bring. So congratulations on that. So for today, we're going to do a Q&A. You all will get an opportunity to be in what we call the warm seat, because when I call it the hot seat, clients get a little bit of anxiety. So we're not going to call it that. The seat is just warm. And we'll answer some questions. I will. And then I'll also open it up to the group because we have some brilliant experts here and you all might have feedback as well. So why don't we do this? We'll start with you, Dora.
I want to give people something in that half hour, not just pitch them to buy the course or buy a course. The beta test is going to be going through my coaching model, the philosophy, which is the GROW model, because I believe coaching should be accessible to everyone. It shouldn't just be for executives or the elite. Everyone should be able to get access to coaching. And I want to share sort of my method of coaching with everyone. That's the course. That's what the course is about.
Let's say your framework you're going through and you're talking about why coaching is so important. I would say, Serena Williams, what is the one thing that Serena Williams and Kobe Bryant both have in common? They both had a coach, right? This is why coaching is effective. My client, Dora, was so coachable that she's about to put on her first conversion event. This is where you could be in the next 5 weeks. So I want to connect it to what I'm teaching. Just one framework. Maybe it's about coaching being accessible for everybody. What truly is coaching? What is a coaching experience? What are the benefits of having a coach? Teaching people just that is more than enough. We don't need to teach them the whole roadmap. So you just want to teach them one framework. And then the rest of the time you want to spend nurturing them, which means give them time to answer you questions for a Q&A. A lot of times people are like, we're just going to meet for 30 minutes. I always say an hour because I don't know how many questions I'm going to have at the end. I might only teach for 15, but I want to give the audience as much time as possible to talk to me, because a lot of times people don't purchase because they've been burnt in the past. They don't know how an experience is going to be, right? And I don't want them to feel like they can't connect with me. Connection is the most important. I'm going to take a moment to interrupt this video to tell you about something that I am so excited about. I had the opportunity to join Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens in one of their most phenomenal projects, which is School. On School, I have a community that will teach you how to create, monetize, and deliver your signature talk. A signature talk, I want you to think about it this way. It's like the Beyonce method. Beyonce comes out with one album that we all love, and she commits to doing it around the world, and she goes on tours. She does a great job. I want that for you. I want you to be able to create a signature talk that you can deliver thousands of times and get paid to do it. So if you're a public speaker, a consultant, and you know you have a message that can change the world, this is a gift for you. The Profitable Speaker Circle. This is a space with the most diverse speakers from around the world, learning together, supporting one another, and getting on stages and in boardrooms around the world. So click the link in the description. It will take you right over to our school community and you can get started with that course. Within that community, we also have two other aspects. One, you'll be able to become an affiliate. So if you have other folks out in the world who you know, who are public speakers, who need to work on their signature talks, get on more stages, you can invite them as well. And we're going to give you a kickback. The other thing is, beyond just the training on your signature talk, we have a 5-day challenge and we have a monthly live space where you can share your speech. So join the Profitable Speaker Circle, click the link below, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. All right, peace.
The title of my talk is going from surviving change, life's changes, to finding the empowerment within the change. So it's based on I've had the rug pulled under me so many times. And I found there were some things that I did through those years that I can now give to other people to get through those moments. And particularly right now with everything changing on us, in this country, I think a lot of people need it. But the question I have is, I don't necessarily think that it could be for a corporate environment, but I don't necessarily think that that's would be the main area. And so where do I start? And women's groups, where should be my focus, I guess, so that I'm not just scattershot in terms of pitches.
This is for everybody. This is a great question when we're thinking about pitching. These are the lines of questions that I go through. I'm actually working on a new offer right now where I want to start speaking about like sales and integrity, because I see so many people doing it in a sloppy way, but also because when it comes to people of color and women and LGBT folks, we will post content, we'll market. But when it comes to sales, we get really uncomfortable, right? So that's something I'm working on. So I always ask myself, like, who will this impact the most? What's the industry I want to go to? And what industry do I have access to? And then I want to think to myself, what events are happening where this would be a perfect talk? Because what I used to do back in the day, y'all, is I would just be like, I'm a speaker and I want to come speak to your group. That's not helpful. I'm creating a problem for the company, actually.
So I'm going to frame some context. I've, of course, been doing speaking opportunities, and through your coaching, built out a 5-part curriculum so that when I'm reaching out to folks, I'm saying these are the things I could speak on. And now I'm at the stage where my partners, many of which have hired me for these speaking opportunities, are like, okay, can you provide content? Like, can you upload your resources on a portal? Can you XYZ? So that's where I am currently, and I wanted guidance on structuring the terms of the arrangement.
People don't really complete online courses. So one, what can you build in the flow of the learning management system that brings them back in, right? Like, are there badges? Are there certificates that they get when they finish something? We know when you're at an employer and they say, you got to do this training or you're not going to get that damn paycheck. Yeah, I've got those trainings, right, that we have to do, right? And they were like, nah, if you don't complete this, we'll stop paying you, right? Like, so those trainings are usually more expensive, right? When it's a mandated training, when it's connected to OSHA and stuff like that, compared to stuff that's just like, oh, you could just take it based off of Skillshare. So I think that if you're looking at it that way, $100 per person for a year is not a lot. But if it's something that's mandated, then you do need to go up in the cost, because at that point, more people are going to do it and they're going to have to do it. And it's often going to be connected to some government type of system. I met this woman who was a part of the NFL. She was not a part, like a player, but she was their therapist. So when NFL players would have crisis, she was on retainer. And if they had a crisis, they had a certain amount of hours they could use. If they didn't have no crisis, she still got the money that she was paid. So some months, right, she was like extremely busy talking to people all the time. And some months she was barely utilizing it. And I think that kind of works in those type of models.
So when I had a successful email with the Miami-Dade Public Library System. And I am now in their programming for all their 50 branches as a workshop facilitator. But even when I approach them, they're like, I talked about speaking, I talked about everything I offer, and then like workshops. I feel like every single time, it's always workshops that people want. They don't necessarily want, and maybe, I could probably just be pitching to the wrong people probably. I can kind of answer that question. Maybe I'm just like going to the wrong places, places that would prefer workshops over, a speaker. But at the end of the day, I'm just looking for like strategies I can utilize, because I do have so much success as a workshop facilitator. Like I freelance with a company called The Rise Journey. They basically work with corporate clients that want DEI programming. So during their luncheon, they have a thing called Lunch and Learns, where I hop on with corporate clients and I do a workshop. So it's like I have a lot of experience as a facilitator, but how do I really successfully transition that over into a role as a public speaker? Because that's really, the workshop facilitation is decent money, but a speaking engagement is even more than that. So
it's so interesting when Alisa said, I have a blog, Dora said, you have a thought leadership container. Mm-hmm. That was just so right. Like that just elevated the moment. So if I gave you this chapstick, right, and I just gave it to you and it just said chapstick, you'd be like, okay, I'll give you about 50 cents. But the fact that it says Burt's Bees, right? Everybody is spending $7, right? So branding and the experience that we create, right, is different. I'm going to Beyonce to see Beyonce. Beyonce does concerts, but she calls it an experience. And it usually is an experience. So she double downs by over delivering. So for you, you're calling yourself a workshop facilitator. You know what you've been paid as that. And that's the story that you have in your head. But I just did a workshop and I spoke for 38 minutes. I actually set a timer because this is a space they asked me to speak for an hour, but they always speak more than me. They pump me up and then they talk to the group and then they do all of their updates. And I got paid $3,500 to speak for 38 minutes. I was a facilitator of that space. I was a workshop facilitator, but how did I say? I said, I'm a transformative healing coach.